My daughter didn't call. She didn't send a handwritten letter. No teary speech over coffee. No shaky voice filled with guilt. She emailed. 2 lines. Hey Mom, just wanted to let you know the wedding is coming up next Saturday. It'll be live streamed, so you can watch it online. That was it. No invite. No, I'd love to see you. No seat with her name on it. Just a link. I stared at the email for a long time. My hands didn't move. My heart didn't know how to break, because I think it already had. I raised her alone. Worked double shifts. Missed meals so she could eat. Held her through nightmares. Sat beside her when she failed math. Cheered when she won her first debate. And now, I was reduced to a URL. So I did something I hadn't done in years. I wrote, not to her, to the world. I started a blog, titled, When the Mother of the Bride Isn't Invited. I didn't post photos, didn't name names, didn't ask for sympathy. Just stories, memories, truths that had lived in my bones, longer than she had walked on her own 2 feet. The first post went unnoticed, the second, a few comments. By the 5th, something shifted. Strangers began writing back. I thought I was the only one. Your words sound like my mother's pain. I'm so sorry. She'll regret it one day. I didn't respond. I wasn't writing for pity. I was writing because I couldn't scream. Because silence, for mothers like me, isn't golden. It's suffocating. People think motherhood is a series of photo albums, smiling birthdays, first day of school portraits, prom dress fittings. But most of it, the real parts, don't get photographed. Like eating dinner standing up, because your kid wants the last piece of chicken. Like sewing ballet slippers at midnight, because she forgot to tell you about recital practice. Like crying in the bathroom, because there's $12 in your account, and the fridge is empty. Mary remembered all of it, not in bitterness, but in detail, because when you raise a child alone, memories don't fade, they sharpen. She remembered Lily's fever at age 3, how the hospital wouldn't take them, until she filled out 5 forms, how the nurse asked, "Where's the father?" How Mary had said, "Gone," without explaining the rest. She remembered Lily's science fair win, the way her daughter had jumped into her arms, the smell of glue and poster paper. She remembered every graduation, every slammed door, every whispered, "I hate you." That secretly meant, "I need you to stay." Mary had stayed, through all of it, and now she was being erased by a livestream link. So she kept writing, not to guilt trip, not to shame, but to remember, because forgetting would be the final betrayal. Lily found the blog 2 days before the wedding. A friend had sent her the link, captioned, "Is this your mum?" She clicked, scrolled, froze. Her mother's words, raw, quiet, not angry, but honest, too honest. Lily slammed the laptop shut. Andrew looked up from across the room. "Everything okay?" She lied, said it was work. But that night, after he fell asleep, she reopened it. This time, she read slowly, and something happened. She cried, not because her mother had accused her. She hadn't. Not because her mother shamed her. She didn't. But because, for the first time, she realized how much her mother had carried alone, and how she'd handed that weight over, without ever asking for anything back. 3 days before the wedding, Mary received an envelope, handwritten, no return address. Inside, a formal invitation. "You are cordially invited to the wedding of Lily Rose Grant and Andrew Thomas Blake." Handwritten below, "I know she didn't ask you, but I'm asking. Please come. Andrew." Mary sat with it for an hour. Then she ironed her best dress. Not new, not trendy, but hers. She didn't reply. Didn't RSVP. She just showed up. The ceremony began, under a pale gold sky. Guests whispered. Music played. The aisle glittered with petals. And then, a pause, a murmur. Heads turned. Mary, in blue. She didn't wear makeup. Didn't carry flowers. Just herself. Lily froze at the altar. For a moment, everything stopped. Then Mary walked. Slow, steady, not to interrupt, but to be seen. Lily's eyes filled with tears. Andrew stepped forward, nodded. No one said a word, but everyone understood. Something real had just entered the room, after the vows, before the reception. Lily found her. Mary stood by a tree, hands clasped, Watching birds scatter, Lily approached slowly. "I didn't expect you to come," she said. Mary smiled. "I didn't expect to be invited." Pause. Lily's voice cracked. "I read your blog." Mary nodded. "I know. I didn't realize. I wasn't waiting for you to." They stood in silence. Then Lily whispered, "I'm sorry." Mary reached for her hand. "You were never required to be perfect." "But you were," Lily replied. And that, more than any apology, was enough. The wedding resumed, in a quieter way. No big announcements, no dramatic declarations. Just Lily, holding her mother's hand. As she walked down the aisle, Andrew stood waiting, his eyes soft, uncertain, but he smiled. And when the officiant asked, "Who gives this bride away?" Lily turned to Mary. Mary smiled gently. "She gives herself, but I stand beside her." Applause. Real this time. Earned. The ceremony was simple. The vows genuine. No mention of forever. Just a promise to try, to choose each other, again and again. After the ceremony, the party began. But Mary didn't stay long. She hugged a few guests, ate one slice of cake, and slipped away quietly. Back to her apartment. Back to her stillness. She wasn't sad. She didn't expect more. But that night, at 11:12 p.m, her phone lit up. A text from Lily. "You awake?" Mary replied. "Always." Minutes later, a knock on the door. Lily, in sweatpants and mascara streaks, holding a small suitcase. "Can I stay here tonight?" Mary stepped aside. No questions. They sat on the couch, barefoot, sharing leftover cake. No wedding gowns. No speeches. Just silence that didn't hurt. Lily said, "There's a lot I haven't told you." Mary nodded. "We have time." And so began the second part of their story. Not as dramatic, not as viral, but more real. Lily visited every week. She framed old photos, took Mary to brunch, introduced her to friends as, "My mum, the strongest woman I know." Mary never asked for it, but she received it. Not flowers, not cards, but recognition. And one day, months later, as they walked through a bookstore together, Lily stopped in front of a children's book. She picked it up, handed it to Mary. It was titled, "The Woman Who Showed Up." Inside was a dedication, "To the one who found me." Before I even knew I was lost, Mary closed the book. Heartful. "Did you write this?" Lily smiled. "No, but maybe now I will." They walked on, and in that moment, Mary didn't feel like someone who had been left behind. She felt like someone who had arrived, exactly where she was meant to be. Months passed. The blog Mary started, the one she called "When the Mother of the Bride Isn't Invited," didn't fade away. It grew, not in headlines, not in followers, but in letters, handwritten ones, from women in their 60s, from daughters in their 30s, from people who had never had the courage to say, "I'm sorry, I was wrong, I miss you." Mary read every single one. Some she answered. Most, she didn't have to. Just knowing her words had helped someone else feel seen was enough. One day, she received a thick envelope. Inside was a certificate. Her blog had been nominated for a Quiet Award, given by a foundation for restorative stories. No gala, no red carpet, just a small gathering in a community library where mothers sat in a circle and read their truths aloud. Mary was invited to speak. She wore the same soft blue dress, still wrinkled, still hers. Lily came too, sat in the front row. When Mary stood at the podium, she didn't bring a speech. She brought the pink blanket, the same one she found on the hospital steps all those years ago. She held it up and said, "This isn't just fabric. It's the beginning of everything. I wasn't chosen. I chose, and I would choose again." The room stood in silence, not out of obligation, but reverence. Afterward, Lily hugged her tightly. "I want to tell this story. On video, on podcasts, anywhere they'll let me." Mary raised an eyebrow. "You sure? It's not exactly glamorous." Lily smiled. "It's real, and we need more real." Together, they began working on a short film, not for fame, not for revenge, but for every forgotten parent who had ever asked, quietly, "Did I matter?" "Ah." And Lily's answer, now loud and clear, was always, "You did. You still do." The video went live, exactly 1 year after the wedding. It was called The Woman Who Showed Up. And this time, Mary wasn't watching from the sidelines. She was the story. Finally, proudly, seen. It arrived in a plain white envelope, no return address, no markings, just her name, Mary Evelyn Grant. She opened it slowly, expecting spam, a flyer, perhaps a bill. Inside was a handwritten letter, neat, steady, carefully penned. Dear Mary, you don't know me, but I know of you. I was the night nurse at St. Joseph's Hospital, the night you found her. I remember your face, how pale you looked, how tightly you clutched that tiny bundle, how your hands trembled, but your voice didn't. You kept saying, she's so small, how could anyone? And I remember what you did next. You refused to hand her over, not until you were sure she'd be safe. I watched you fill out forms. At 3, Ma'am, under flickering lights. I watched you give her your last name. Before you were even allowed to. You chose her, before the system did. Some people become mothers by chance. You became one by choice. I never forgot that night. And when I saw the video, the one your daughter made about you, I cried. I just wanted you to know. Someone else remembers. And we were always watching. Quietly. Gratefully. Thank you. Nurse K. Mary read it twice. Then a third time. Her fingers ran over the ink, like tracing back through time. She folded it gently, placed it inside a drawer, lined with old birthday cards, school photos, and one pink blanket, and for the first time in decades, she whispered something, not to her daughter, not to the world, but to herself. I did good. Then she poured a cup of tea, opened her laptop, and began typing again. Not for a blog, not for a speech, just a title, Letters to the Ones Who Stayed. Because in the end, Mary wasn't just the woman who showed up. She was the woman who stayed, even when it hurt, even when it was silent, even when no one said thank you. She stayed, and that was her legacy.